Adventist education in Portugal, an Alpine camp in Slovenia, and meeting Jesus by a campfire in Switzerland. All this and much more from the front lines of mission coming up next. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause, and today's program is coming to you from the beautiful mountains of Slovenia in former Yugoslavia. You know, there's something restorative, something healing about coming out into nature, and on today's program we'll see a story of an Alpine camp designed for mission. On today's program we're going to many parts of the world, but first up we're going to Portugal to learn about a school that grew from two.
Stephen N. Haskell was the first Seventh-day Adventist minister to visit Portugal. Haskell traveled around the world at the service of the General Conference to scout the conditions for mission advancement. During this worldwide trip, he arrived in Portugal in July 1889. Adventist work didn't begin until September 26, 1904, with the arrival of the first missionary couple from the United States to Lisbon, Portugal. Clarence Emerson and Mary Haskell Renfro, along with their baby, were a young family with a passion to share the Adventist message. They began learning Portuguese, and soon after, they began selling Adventist literature, making missionary contacts and visits, and preaching. Since those humble beginnings, the Adventist Church in Portugal has grown to around 10,000 members. But with 10 million people in the country, the mission challenges are still evident. It is difficult to share the gospel in the growing cities. People are busy, distracted, and interested in things outside of Christianity. One of the ways Adventists have built meaningful connections in Portugal is through education. The Setúbal Adventist School opened in 1983. Lolita helped open the school and was its first teacher. She remembers how it started with only 2 students being taught in the church.
And so it was Fernando and Georgie who first attended school here in Setúbal. From there, other children came. Many children came. At the end of the first year, we had 28 children, and we continued. We were allowed to keep this open, and many more children came to attend the school.
They quickly outgrew the small church space until eventually the building next door became available and they moved in. Parents noticed that this school had more to offer than just the standard curriculum found at other schools. Students' development of Christian values has attracted families to grow an interest in the Adventist Church over the years.
We look at the school as a center of influence. It's a center of influence that works with our children, but also with children who are not from our church, who even belong to other churches. And this is the great method of work of this school, influencing these children and their families who come to church for special occasions. Some attend church regularly. And we have several cases of young people who have joined the Pathfinder Club and eventually were baptized.
And that is why Pathfinders are exactly a complement to the church's educational project. Ultimately, they seek to educate for eternity. This church, at its base, clearly has a mission vision.
And what we have seen in these 40 years of work by this school in Setúbal is a very strong connection between what school life is and the life of the church.
Pudemos transmitir não só às crianças
We can transmit not only the knowledge of Jesus to children, but also to parents, guardians who often attended church, and some children who ended up becoming Adventists, along with their parents.
This small school in Portugal has big potential. Unfortunately, the space isn't big enough for the school to continue to expand, and they have few resources. Staff, students, and their families pray for a new building that can accommodate this school's potential. This quarter, a portion of your 13th Sabbath offerings will help construct a new school building in a fast-growing area of the city. This will allow more families to be impacted by Adventist education.
I always pray for this school so that it can grow and develop. And who knows, one day we will be able to have a school with other, bigger, better facilities, with more conditions. And I think that is our objective. It's in my heart. This school is in my heart.
Please pray with Lolita for this project. Thank you for supporting the 13th Sabbath offering that will impact the lives of families in Portugal.
My guest is Gregor, who is a church member here in Slovenia. Thank you so much for joining us. Please tell me, how did you become a Christian and a Seventh-day Adventist?
Wow, that's a very interesting story. I was raised in a strict communist family, and I didn't believe in God till my 20s, something like that. I enrolled in some kind of problems, and I decided to cut the problems by enrolling in army for 6 months. So the first day when I came to the army, I met an Adventist boy, and because we had some quite similar hobbies, we befriended, and so he told me everything about God, Bible, and by this I became an Adventist.
And you were telling me that it wasn't so much what he preached.
Oh yeah, of course. He didn't convince me with theology, but with life. So with example, we talked about different things, and he really lived what he preached, and that's what attracted me so much. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, tell me about the outreach initiative that you have called Alpine Camp.
Mm-hmm.
How did this start, and what is it?
Well, the Alpine Camp is a 7-day outdoor camp with sport activities that the church in Slovenia organizes together with the Pathfinder Club Slovenia every year. Well, it started like that. The country that we live in is full of mountains, and people like mountaineering. So a lot of people love to spend a lot of time in the mountains. And the idea came that we would combine the classic Alpine camp with a Pathfinder camp, and somehow give the essence, the spiritual essence, to this.
Beautiful. Now, when did you start this?
Well, we started in 2007.
Okay.
But these were just the first ideas of how. But during the years, we somehow molded to what the Alpine camp is today.
So who does this camp minister to? Who participates?
Okay, in this camp, the participants are from all very different grounds. They are coming from church, they are coming from outside church, and as well people who live in the environment. Let's say the guides, the mountain guides, and the staff which helps to maintain the camp is mostly from the church. Some professional mountain guides are helping just to implement some parts of the activities that we have. But the participants are church members, or let's say ex-church members, and the people from Slovenia who wants to spend a week in the mountains.
So it's something that's connecting not only for church members, but also for the community.
Yes, and with the camp every year, in our camp, we as well have the outreach, one-day outreach to the community, to serve the community where we are camping as well. So it's good for the youth in the church and the people from the church, the people who are invited to the camp, and the surrounding people who live nearby.
So tell me about the outreach activities that you do during the camp.
Okay, you mean for the people outside?
In the community, yes.
Oh, for the community. So in the nearby city, we pitch some tables and we do the outreach program, the health outreach program with counseling on diet and everything, distributing different books. And on the other side, we do Adra Day, when we find elderly, vulnerable people who live in their houses and they are not able to care for the environment or the house anymore. So we do one-day work helping them with repairing the house or cleaning the environment or something like that.
So it seems to me that it's a wonderful opportunity for discipleship, particularly for younger people who come to the camp, but also they can invite their friends, and it's not going to be, we're going to be preaching at you, but it's an opportunity for them to be touched spiritually.
Yes, basically it's a seven-day evangelism in a practical way. Although we always have pastor in our camp, and we have morning and evening worship services, and during the day, sometimes we have some Bible studies and this and that. So there is influence of that as well.
Because you face a challenge here in Slovenia, as you do throughout Europe, of the increase in secularism and people who no longer believe in God.
Yes, but people are still thirsty. They still look for the essence. They are looking for God. They just don't know, or they don't find the right path to that. And that is why we need to meet people where they are in different environments.
So what are your hopes for the church here in Slovenia? What do you want to see happen?
Excuse me,
what is your hope for the church here? What would you like to see happen in the future?
In the future? Well, we would like to become really approachable to the people who are living in our culture. And as I said before, meet them where they are, meet their needs, and show them path to Jesus.
Yeah. So if I were to come to the Alpine camp, what sort of activities could I be involved in?
Wow, you could be involved in different activities, because on this camp we have a big scoop of different people which are attending. We have elderly people, we have young families, we have youths, and let's say the activities are like, because we are in the Alps, we spend each year 2 or 3 days hiking. And in the other days, we have different social activities like social games, and we have workshops, survival workshops, how to survive in this terrain, like moving in the mountains, spending a night in the open, how to use wild food, orientation, first aid. Normally, we have one day in the morning, we have all those workshops, and then we give participants lists of things they need to pack. And then we go to the mountains for 2 days, so they need to practically implement what they heard on the workshops. But this is not obligatory for everybody, because all participants who are coming to this have their own choice. What will they do? This is just one of the options. Because we are nearby the river, people can stay all day reading books, those who want, or they go to some tourist sightseeing tours that we organize. Normally, we have 3 different activities per day. Let's say one day we go rock climbing, we go on tourist sightseeing, or people are just playing volleyball in the camp or doing some activities like that. So we want to touch each one of them. We have, even if I say people who don't want to go to the mountains, but they stay all week with us, with the river and with the book. And
wonderful. Enjoy. Sign me up. I'm coming.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Gregor.
Thank you.
And viewers at home, the Alpine camp is just another example of putting Christ's method into ministry, where we can actually connect with people in their interests and their needs and provide a spiritual framework for them, particularly in a country where people are very resistant to outright straight preaching. We'll be right back straight after this break. Welcome back to the mountains of Slovenia, and mountains are very important in the lives of people in this country. In fact, more than 100,000 people are actively involved in Alpine clubs, coming to hike and climb the mountains in these beautiful regions throughout the country. Well, next up we're going to South America and talking to Pastor Bill Crispy, who is the Adventist Mission Director there, about the mission challenges in that region, but also what they are doing for mission around the world.
I'm here in South America with Pastor Bill Quispe, who is the Adventist Mission Director for South America. And we'd like to talk with him a little bit about what's happening in mission here. Pastor, what is happening in mission in South America?
The Church in South America is aware of its local and world mission, and through different initiatives, the Church in South America promotes the world mission. One of them, for example, is the Caleb Mission Project, which is a project that motivates youth in South America every year to dedicate their vacations to preach the gospel in places that are distant from their local church. And it is impressive because every year at least 70,000 young people are mobilized throughout South America to preach using the method of Christ and planting new churches. The second project is the Colombo Adventist service, and I am very moved to know that in the last 7 years, more than 1,000 young people have left South America to serve around the world, impacting more than 40 countries. And it is a great thrill to see that the young people have a world mission consciousness, and the meetings throughout South American congresses promote and train young people to serve worldwide. South American conferences promote and empower young people in their calling. In the I Will Go meetings that take place every 2 years in South America, with guests coming from different parts of the world, motivate and train young people and also university students to go out as volunteers to challenging places. For example, like the 1040 window. It is a great emotion to see how young people are the hope of the missionary work.
So now, we've also been told to go into all the world. What is South America doing for the rest of the world?
As we mentioned earlier, in the last 7 years, more than 1,000 young missionary volunteers were sent through the entity system. It comprises the Adventist voluntary service, and it's exciting to see the commitment of the young people with the world mission. More than 1,000 young people in the last 7 years, reaching out to serve in more than 40 countries. It's really exciting. In addition to that Adventist Volunteer Service Project, also in South America, the pastoral body takes a challenge. Under the leadership of Pastor Urton, 25 pastors were sent in the last years to challenging places like the Window 1040 to be able to serve in those places. And this is a great emotion because it is a commitment not only from the church but also from the pastoral body.
Now, you've had many mission conferences for young people. What kind of reaction are you getting from young people?
We are very happy to see the youth willing to serve God. In the different seminars, meetings and training or missionary congresses that are held here in South America, we saw a very positive response from the young people, and an example of them is what we are experiencing in the international I Will Go meetings, which aim to train young people to be able to serve in their locality and worldwide. Every 2 years, the universities of South America choose places to gather sometimes 4,000 young people, 5,000 young people, to train them, challenge them, motivate them, and place in their hearts the world mission. The response is very positive, and we thank God for that, because the youth in South America vibrates with the mission.
Now, why has South America responded in this way, and what should this do to encourage other divisions to do something similar?
Many years ago, American missionaries came to South America to bring us the gospel. Today, the mission work in South America has grown. The church has multiplied. And one way to repay this great favor that the Church in the United States did for South America is now to send missionaries to the world. The question is no longer who will come to South America, but who will go out of South America. We are very happy because the commitment in South America is total, 100% with the mission and the challenges that the World Church has for the gospel to be preached throughout the world. Remember, the question in South America is no longer who will come, but who will go outside of South America.
Wonderful. Do you have any stories you can share about something that's happened here in South America or other parts of the world?
At the South American level, we have hundreds of disciples committed to the local mission, church planting and personal evangelism. At this moment, I remember a missionary sister from northern Peru. Her name is Berta. She was baptized 18 years ago. She assumed a commitment to be a missionary. Helen White says that every true disciple is born in the kingdom of God as a missionary. And she was really born as a missionary because from the moment she was baptized, she took the challenge and placed a goal in her life to bring 10 souls for Jesus in that year. And by the grace of God, she brought 10 souls for Christ, and she became passionate about this mission. And she, from the moment she was baptized, she has not stopped until today. Every year she has a goal. The other day I was talking to her and she told me, "Pastor, my goal for this year is 30 souls. And Pastor, I'm already at 28. I am missing 2 souls." It is exciting to see the missionary spirit in action. An incident occurred during the pandemic. The goal was 30 souls because her goal is 30 souls every year. She called me and she said, "Because of the pandemic, it has been very difficult to give Bible studies. I am not very tech-savvy, but I learned how to use WhatsApp to give Bible studies online." And she said to me, "Pastor, the year is ending. I did not reach my goal of 30 souls." I tell her, "Sister, how many did you baptize?" "I achieved 28. "Wow," I told her, "Sister, it's excellent in the pandemic. You got 28 souls for Jesus." "Yes, Pastor. Brothers like Berta, there are so many in South America that plant churches, they win souls." And what the sister left in my mind, the time I met her, she told me, "Pastor, I am a missionary. And in my free time, I'm an agricultural engineer." Because she is an agricultural engineer. But she says, "I'm a missionary, and in my free time, I work as an agricultural engineer." What a commitment to the mission. She is a passionate woman who represents the missionary spirit of the brotherhood here in South America. And she says a phrase that she repeats when she gives her testimony. "My dream is to fill heaven with souls." What a blessing to see women, men, young people committed to bringing souls to Jesus.
It's wonderful to see how God is still leading His work. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Welcome back to Slovenia, and next up we travel not too far from here to Switzerland and meeting Jesus by a campfire.
On the shores of Lake Geneva, a Seventh-day Adventist summer camp has touched the hearts and lives of young people in Switzerland. During the summer, Adriana works at La Plage because of the positive memories she has of being a camper.
We had times when we were hanging out by the lake, chatting around a campfire. It allows you to be with a person or with several people, but to be able to exchange experiences, to share our struggles, to have special moments with each other, and to encourage each other.
Campers spend the days doing fun activities like water sports on the lake, but also prioritize developing a deeper connection with Jesus.
Je pense que le fait d'avoir eu ces camps,
I think that having these experiences, it made me grow enormously, whether here at camp or in general life. The programs, everything that the leaders, the pastors, and so on provide, it allows you to develop your spiritual life as a child and as a young adult. It allows me even today as an adult to develop a relationship with God. In fact, that's what happens a lot here.
Adriana has seen multiple people give their hearts to Jesus and be baptized in the lake because of the experiences at camp.
It gives me chills thinking about it. We realize to what extent we have a God who is present, who is great, and who is with us every moment. These experiences allow us to really realize the presence of God in our lives.
The camp sits between two cities, Geneva and Lausanne, making it centrally located for many to attend. Private access to the lake provides a safe way for them to enjoy the water. With years of fun and spiritual growth this camp has provided, time has taken a toll on the facilities. Programs can only operate in the warmer months due to the piping and plumbing. In the colder months, the pipes freeze, making the kitchen and bathroom areas unusable. Another limitation is the kitchen. This small space needs an update with a proper area for food storage, a better layout, and new appliances. With these improvements, the camp would be able to operate year-round, opening new opportunities. This quarter, a portion of your 13th Sabbath offering will go to the renovations of La Plage. Your contribution will allow a wider range of programs to be offered year-round. Please pray for this project in Switzerland. Thank you for your support of the offering that makes a difference in the lives of people like Adriana.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on today's program, and I hope that you've been inspired and challenged by our Mission 360-degree view of mission around the world. We see many mission challenges today. We see the 1040 window, where most of the world's population live. It's the home to the major world religions. But this is where the Christian church and the Adventist church has had least impact, 60% of the world's population. But then we travel to places such as Europe. Right here we have a huge mission challenge with the growth of secularism, the growth of post-Christianity, where people feel as if they're rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing. And so I want you to please continue to pray for the mission here in Europe. And I want to thank you for the way that you continue to support mission through your prayers, through your donations to Global Mission, and your personal involvement. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.